or how they use it themselves, what would it be?
You need to have an understanding and a plan for what AI needs to mean for your country and your jurisdiction. So by just using a current tools, you are playing into an ideological basis that comes from labs essentially in Silicon Valley. You need to have one strategy that says, we think AI will do a thing for us, this is the thing, and we will get to that through our industrial strategy, through how we evaluate, through how we regulate. Because at the moment we have whack-a-mole. You know, you're hitting different parts of the stack in different ways, and we're just seeing governments respond when the public is sufficiently exercised. That is not a plan, that is a series of actions. We need to know your plan.
Love it, love it. Jan?
Thank you. So, yeah, just to build on my last answer, that also for the countries who are not hosting the leading models, your future also depends on what's happening inside those labs. So, like, putting pressure on the governments that are hosting those and kind of making sure that they actually understand what is happening in the labs. And in particular, I'm like sickeningly worried about the thing that now labs are explicitly aiming for, which is recursive self-improvement. Making sure that like we can remove humans from the loop of creating further AIs and loss of control that potentially could come out of that.
I would say investment in the community, independent community of practice of algorithmic evaluators. And there's two reasons. There's the ethical, responsible use, public interest reason, and there's actually a purely capitalistic reason. So the ethical, responsible use reason is that this is how we get people from 70% not liking AI to actually being more trusting of AI systems, because we need to create independent evaluators. And this is not, a crazy thing to say. This concept exists in just about every major industry that is impactful on people, whether you're talking about finance, education, aviation, medicine. There is no industry, in fact, that just lets companies do what they want and build things that are so societally impactful. And the capitalistic reason, frankly, is this is a massive market. There is a lot of ask from not just the frontier. We focus a lot of the frontier labs, but actually most of my work is done with Fortune 100 companies. And you have insurance companies, automotive companies, banks, you name it, any industry trying to adopt AI that has these very, very big questions on independent evaluation, and they have nowhere to go. So investing in that market is also about creating new job opportunities, it's about ensuring responsible use, and it's actually about creating better innovation.
Just gonna plus one that point and build on it actually, which I think it's such an important point around assurance. We're actually releasing a paper on Friday which is focused on how you build a robust assurance ecosystem. And I think that this is so important because we talk about these principles like justified or calibrated trust, which is that what tools do you really need to calibrate your trust in a system? Not just kind of told to have blind faith that it's going to operate in this way and that it's safe and it's secure. But you should have the tools that you need to determine whether you should trust it. So one random example I'm going to use now is that I was ill recently and I got a prescription from the doctors, and I trust the doctor, right? And I get a prescription, but it also came with this document around some of the limitations or potential risks of using this medicine. But then I can then weigh out, like, do I still want to take it? Yeah, I trust the doctor. I'm aware of the potential risks. And so how do we ensure we have documentation around limitations that models have? And then, whether you're a citizen, whether you're a government sort of thinking about your own needs, what do you need to calibrate your own trust? And I think that part of that comes from building this, strong assurance ecosystem. And for us, particularly an independent kind of third-party testing ecosystem, where we have evals across the value chain. And particularly there, I think Rumaan made a really important point around the fact that this isn't just thinking about model providers. We should be thinking about deployment across sectors and what is distinctively needed within those sectors too. So I think a lot of progress could be made in that area. Thank you.
Amanda? Yeah. I guess I would say, so you give us 5-year window, I'm going to be aspirational and say something that's going to sound almost ridiculous, but I want us to kind of move the Overton window, I think, on a couple of things. So one, just on the, a phrase like recursive self-improvement, is it improving? I don't know. I mean, I guess I want us to, I think, be really careful around the language, particularly as, agents are, up and running, on our locally on our laptops or in between nation states or whatever. And is recursion always improving? And so I think I want to hold that question open. And I want to, ChatGPT gets introduced November of 2022. We immediately start talking about the race to the bottom among the AI labs, and I worry very much about a race to the bottom among nation states with regards to AI. I mean, laws that were hard fought, regulations to get on the books are being eroded or being clawed back, et cetera. So the race to the bottom has moved from the private sector to the public sector. I think it's a real concern. And so my aspiration here would be to ask our countries to be the best model of how these tools and systems can be used, not the worst model, right? To sort of have them be, the guys laughing, the sort of, again, aspirational Overton window. Like, imagine that our nation states could be the best models of how they're used, with the best safeguards, with the most safety, like could model to industry, could model to other nation states how we might do that. So that's